Okay, good morning, guys. Good morning. Welcome to another class of math for today. Before I actually go into the lesson, though, I want to cover and state some announcements. Um, I had mentioned that this is the last teaching week previously. Not sure if it was in the beginning of this week or last week, but I had mentioned it. And as a result of that, then whatever grades you submit to me on Friday for this week, the two activities that you submit, then that will be it for your grade. Um, so basically, your report card for cycle 2 will include these 6 weeks, these 6 grades that I have gotten from you guys or will be getting from you guys, and as well your revision activity or assessment and your revision assessment. And your revision assessment will be similar to something like an exam style setup. It won't really be an exam because you guys will be doing it at home. And we won't be doing it virtually or to something to that effect. But it has the same setup where it will be a revision of everything that we have done for the past 6 weeks. And all of that will be assessed in that one activity. And then that will be the final grade apart from these 6 weeks. So now, if I do not get your assignments by Friday and I sit down and I grade them, then you are going to get a 0 because you have to abide by the. I think that I have given so many students so much extensions and deadlines that you need to be able to abide by them. So just like last cycle when I said the deadline is a deadline, and even though my deadline was before other teachers' deadline, that was it. And no matter how many of you sent your assignments, I did not grade them, and that's what I'm going to be doing again. If you guys had taken a look at Google Classroom before the class, I did post a list of students that are failing math at the moment. Now, what do I mean with failing math? It means that you are in the 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s. I think the lowest grade is a 9% out of that list. And I have one student that has not submitted anything, therefore, that student has a 0. Um, and I don't, and when I said that I need you guys to contact me, it is for you to realize why you are failing. Because at this point, I don't think that anybody should be failing math. Because if some students can have 90s, why do other students have 9%, 17%, 30%? Why do I have students feeling like that? And it's because of irresponsibility. Because we do the activities every week, we do them together as a class. You watch the recordings are there for you. I post the Jamboards for you. Everything is posted in Google Classroom. And I have access to other Google Classrooms, and I see that compare your mathematics Google Classroom to other Google Classrooms, and math has a whole lot of things that are posted there so that you have the resources to do your work and submit your assignments. I do not mind your assignments being submitted late, but not submitting it at all. I have to give you a 0. I cannot give you a grade for something that you did not give to me. So those of you that are failing, and if you see your name on that list, make sure that you make the effort to get in contact with me. And if you know that you are failing because you have not sent work to me, then the first thing that you should say is, Miss, I am willing to do my missing work. I will submit my missing work. And if after that I am still failing, then I would like to see what else I can do. Don't come and tell me, Miss, what I can do to put up my grade, and you know what you have to do to put up your grade. You have to send me the work. You cannot pass if you do not send me the work. On the other hand, now, there are some of you that are passing, but you are passing with 70s. Let me find my grade book. There are some of you that are in the 70s, which if you guys, good morning, Eimer. If you guys fail this week or fail your revision, you will fail. and by that time it will be too late for you to make up anything. So persons that have a 74, that have a 71, those are the persons that even though you're passing right now, you are in the borderline of failing. So you cannot afford to fail anything. I will be posting one activity in Google Classroom, which everybody will have the opportunity to do if you want to do it. It's not mandatory. You are not obligated to do it. It will be as extra points. Whatever it is that you get after you have done it, I will add it to your points, and then it will just be extra points. I will post it in Google Classroom. You are to do it on your own. You are not to message me and ask me, Miss, how do I do this? Because it is extra points. If you want to do it, you do it. If you know that you haven't been getting that good of grades so far, then this is your opportunity to put up your grade a little bit more. If you are in the 70s, you can get to the 80s. If you are in the 80s, you can get to the 90s. And those of you that are in the 90s, let me see what is the highest grade at this point in time. Um, the highest grade that I have for math online, I think, is a 90. Let's see, 90, a 98.
Miss, you can tell me my grade, Miss. I want to know, Miss.
Russell, Russell, you have an 85.
Miss, can you tell me mine too?
Herbie has a 91. If you guys would like to know your grade, you are.
Every
See, I can. You want me to read out all the grades? Okay,
Yes, Miss.
every all.
I will do that
Yes, Miss. Yes.
very quickly. Very quickly, right? If you don't hear your grade, if you didn't hear it, then you can ask me to repeat at the end, but I'll read it very quickly so I don't take a lot of time. I have Ashanti 90, Siani 87, Andrea 93, David 52, Suzani 35, Sitlali 77, Jamar 86, Edmond 91, Jessica 89, Joshua 85, Andre 87, Rossi 5, Marvin 87, Jesus 43, Johan 74, Jerome 86, Tristan 93, Candy 50, Daniel 95, Eber 91, Esner 43, Cesar 66, Russell 85, Dylan 92, Eimer 98, Alyssa 18, Herbie 91, Javier 96, and Derek 29. So those are the grades for math. And then those of you that are failing, you are failing because more than likely you have missing grades. So you need to work on your missing grades first, and then once you have submitted your missing work, I will personally contact you and tell you, okay, your grade went up, or you need to do something extra to put up that grade. And I'm giving you guys this opportunity because when we come back in January, like I said, January is going to be revision. You're going to get your revision assessment, and then that's it. I am not going to be accepting any redos in January. And you guys need to understand it as well because I give you guys the time when I sit down and I check for week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. I expect all of you to submit your assignments because that's when I'm checking it. But when I check, for example, yesterday I checked week 5, I have to go back week 1 to see if anybody submitted week 2 and see if anybody submitted week 3 and then I have to go back and check just that one that was submitted to me late. And it does take time to do that, guys. So I hope that on your end you are also understanding of that. I will be posting the extra points activity on Thursday. You guys will have until next week Wednesday to submit that, because we won't be having classes Monday, Tuesday. So you guys should be able to do that, and you can submit it before if you would like. And once I check that, I will add the points to your grade, and you should see if it goes up and by how much it will go up. So is that clear to everybody? Yes.
That's nice.
Okay. Okay, and then if you have any specific questions about your grade, like you want to know why it is like that, then you can feel free to message me in the afternoon. And in the afternoon, please don't message me 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the night, because at that time I'm busy and I won't answer you guys at that time. Um, and then also, if you guys are keeping track of your grade that pops up in Google Classroom, like if you see your grade in math in Google Classroom is a grade different than what I read right now, the grade in Google Classroom is a cumulative grade, meaning that that grade has cycle 1 and cycle 2 together. So that grade that shows up in Google Classroom is your grade from since August, right? Not only cycle 2. So I would not suggest that you guide yourself from that grade, because it's not it won't reflect your cycle 2 grade, right? So if nobody has any questions and that section is clear, that part is clear to you guys about your grades, today we want to talk about I want to review what we did yesterday, which was area of a sector, which was pretty straightforward. Once you guys are able to know the formula, then you guys are able to solve for that. So we did three of the questions together, and you guys are supposed to have done the other three together. And then now, what it is that we are going to be doing, I'm going to be doing this question with you guys that talks about area of a sector as well. But because it is a problem solving question, it's a little bit more complex. It doesn't ask you guys just, okay, find the area of the fan and then that's it. Um, so let's go ahead and do this one. This is a question from section 1, sorry, activity 2, section 1. And the question reads as follows. A Japanese fan is made out of wood and cloth. The shape of the fan is made up of two overlapping quadrants. What is the area of the portion that is made of cloth? Use 22 over 7 as an approximation for pi. So we have to understand what this is saying. Apart from the fact that the diagram is given to you, you can visually see what it's talking about and you can see the measurements that are being given to you. It gives you this information, which is two overlapping quadrants, and it also tell you that they want you to use 22 over 7 as pi. So for this question, we do not use 3.142 because the question directly tells you what they want you guys to use. So now, what do I need to find? What is the area of the portion that is made out of cloth? I just want to find that little pink portion. If you guys have seen one of these fans in real life, then the wooden part or the plastic part is attached to the cloth part. So in this question, they only want to know what is this part. What is the area of this part only of the cloth? How would I go about solving this question? What do you need to know or what do you need to do? Don't worry about the complexity, but what it is that you need to do. What are the steps that I need to take to solve and to find the area of that piece? Anybody has any ideas? What do you need to do to be able to solve for the area of the pink part? Or what do you need to know?
The length of the sides, miss?
Okay, the length of the sides are given to you there. The length of the entire fan is 28 and the length of the wooden piece is 14. So you have the lengths, but what do you need to do? What do you need to know to be able to find the area of the cloth?
Miss, first find the length of 14, miss, and then find the length of the 28, then you subtract.
Okay, I understand what you said, but it's not the length that we want. We want to find the area of the little wooden piece that has a length of 14, and we want to find the area of the entire fan. And then once I know the area of the entire fan and the area of the little wooden piece, I can subtract them, and that is going to leave the area of the clad part. Everybody understood that?
Yes, miss.
Okay, so first of all, I need to find two areas of the wooden part and of the entire fan. So I need to find two areas. What is the formula for area of a sector? What was the formula?
Diameter is over pi, sir.
What is the formula we were using yesterday?
D equal over pi.
No, 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 we are not using that one. The formula for area of a sector. It was the one that we were using to solve the one.
Theta over 360 times pi r squared.
Okay, theta pi r squared over 360. Let me use another color. Area is equal to theta pi r squared over 360. Okay, so this is the area of a sector. Now, we need to understand that that fan has the shape of a sector. Because if I were to complete this drawing and I were to draw the circle, right, it would give me a portion of it, right? So I need to understand that this fan represents a sector, and that's why I'm using the formula for area of a sector. I need to also understand that because the fan represents a sector, I'm going to be using the formula to find area of a sector for the entire fan, right? We're looking at that shape. And then I also need to understand that this little part, the wooden part, is also another sector. And that's why I am going to find the area of the entire fan with the formula of the sector, and I'm going to find the area of the wooden piece with the formula for area of a sector, because both of them represent the shape of a sector, right? Now, there is something very important that we need for the formula that is not given to us in the diagram. Well, it's not directly given to us. The information is there, but it's not given to us. What is missing in the diagram? What information is missing in the diagram?
The angle, miss. The angle.
The angle, very good. But because the question does not give it to me, or you're looking at the picture of that fan, and the picture of that fan doesn't tell me what is theta right here, right? It doesn't tell me what theta is. That does not mean that the information is not given to me. In the beginning, I circled this part which says two overlapping quadrants. What is the magnitude of a quadrant?
A 90-degree, miss.
Very good. If we remember when we did Cartesian plane and you had the quadrants, we said that this is 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. And if this fan is representing a quadrant, that means that whatever is here measures 90 degrees, right? So now, with that information, I am going to substitute for the wooden piece. Theta is 90 degrees, pi is 22 over 7, and what is the radius?
7, miss.
So,
Are you sure?
14.
It's 14. Let me say that I draw the rest of the circle. The diameter would be all of this, but the radius is just this part. So the radius is 14 squared. All of that over 360 degrees. So I want you guys to use your calculators and I want you guys to solve that.
154, miss.
154.
Yes, miss.
Okay, and anybody got that same answer or a different answer? 90 times 22 times 14.
157, 153 minutes.
How much? The answer should be 154. Okay, in your calculators, this is what you're going to be doing. 90 times 22 times 14 times 14 equal sign divided by 7 equal sign divided by 360. And it should give you 154. Did you get that?
Got it, miss.
Okay. So it should be 154 units. What is your units?
Centimeter squared.
Centimeter squared.
Centimeters squared. Okay. So now we're going to be doing the same thing, but for the entire fan. So I'm going to have the area is equal to 90 degrees because it's the same degree for both of them times 22 over 7 times what is your radius?
14.
14, miss.
Are you sure?
28 minutes because it's for the entire
28.
phone.
14
It's
squared.
28, guys. 28. Because if I were to draw the entire circle, remember I did this? If I were to draw the entire circle, this line that measures 28 is only halfway. It is another 28 to reach the other end of the circle. So the radius for this question is 28. Right? Everybody understood that?
Miss, it's where the parts of the circle are.
Yeah, this represents a part of a circle. Remember yesterday when we talked about our sector? What is a sector? A sector is made up of a radius, and an arc. And then the same thing for the smaller one, a radius, and an arc. Because it is like a slice of a circle, right? So we have to also visualize the entire circle. Huh? No, right? Sorry about that. And then all of that will be over 360 degrees. So again, in your calculators, yes, Jerome, what did you get?
616.
Repeat again.
616.
616. Okay. So in your calculators, for the rest of you, you will do 90 times 22 times 28 squared or 28 times 28 equal sign divided by 7 equal sign divided by 360 equal sign. And did you get that? 616?
Yes, miss.
Okay. So now I have the area for the entire fan and I have the area for the wooden piece. What am I going to do now?
Add them, miss.
Subtract,
Who are we adding or are we subtracting?
subtracting,
Subtracting, very good.
subtracting is
Subtracting because I want to find the piece of the little clat only, right? So I'm going to take my 616, subtract 154, and what does that give you?
Four 62, miss.
416.
462 centimeters squared, and then this is going to be your answer for this question. Yes?
Yes, miss.
Okay. So I think yeah, that was the only question in the worksheet that talked about area of a sector, because the other questions have sector and segment together. So we have done the revision, we've used the formula, we have solved the problem. Now what we are doing today is covering segment of a circle. And we cannot confuse it with sector. Take a look at the sector is like a slice. When you're cutting a cake, you cut out a slice of the cake. But now a segment is like if I cut right across the cake or right across something. And the smaller part is what we call the minor segment, and the bigger part is what we call the major segment. And a segment now is made out of, what do we call line AB?
Record.
A chord.
Chord, miss.
Very good, a chord. So a segment is made out of a chord and an arc. Um, when we're talking about a segment, is a half circle, like let's say a semicircle, is a semicircle a segment? Yes or no?
Maybe.
Maybe.
M- Miss, if it
What was
was a
it, miss?
semicircle, it would be in the half of the circle, miss.
Let me repeat, my question is that if I give you guys a semicircle, half of a circle, is half of a circle the same thing as a segment? Yes or no?
No,
Yes, miss.
no,
Yes,
no,
miss.
miss.
Okay,
No, miss.
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss. Half of a circle.
half of a circle is a segment. Yes, that's what you're saying.
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Okay, very good. Now, why is it that if we remember when we were labeling the parts of a circle and we said that the diameter is a chord, because the diameter touches circumference to circumference, and that is what a chord is. So now if we're saying that a segment is a chord and an arc, isn't a half circle a chord, which is the diameter, and an arc? Yes, it is. So if they tell you guys find the area of a semicircle, we're basically finding the area of a segment. All right? So now the formula for area of a segment is a little bit more complex. Why? Because if we take a look at the diagram, whenever a question asks you and will ask you to find area of a segment, and if you guys are planning to take CXC next year in Fort Farm, area of a segment is a question that almost every single year comes, because it is finding area of a circle that is more complex than the other parts. Taking a look at this diagram, you basically have a sector right here. See the slice that is here? This is a sector. But a sector is made out of a segment. And what is this shape that has three sides?
A triangle.
A triangle. So a sector is a triangle and a segment together. But when they ask you to find area of the segment, they don't want area of the entire thing. They only want this part, the top part that has the chord and the arc. So for me to be able to do that, I need to find, just like how we did with the fun right now, I need to find the area of the entire sector and the area of the triangle, because that is what I do not want. And I subtract them to get the answer that I want. Right? So now, how does the formula look like? And out of everything that you see here, this is the formula that we are going to be using. Right here. And we are going to be using the one in black. I don't want us to use the one in red. The one in black is the one that we're going to be using. And that formula, looking at that formula, that might look like a big formula to you guys, but that is the one that we're going to be using. So the formula is area is equal to theta over 360 pi r squared. And if we take a look at this first little part, what formula is this? Only this
Area of sector.
area of a sector. Very good. And just like how it says here at the top, area of a sector minus the area of the triangle. So I find the area of the sector and I'm going to subtract it from the area of the triangle. And the area for the triangle in this case is half r squared sine of theta. And that will be the formula. I am going to rewrite the formula for you guys so to make it a little bit more understanding. And you guys can understand it. Okay. So let me share this Jamboard now. Mm, over here. And this is a practice question before we go into the problem solving, right? This is the formula. I have area of the sector. So this is going to be area of the sector, the formula for that. And then I have area of the triangle, which represents that little part, this part over here. And I subtract both of them to be able to find the area of the shaded part, or this part over here, because that is what I want. All right? Everybody got that?
Yes, so
So,
for the
These are
second,
these
okay, one at a time. Johan, go ahead.
these are two separate formulas, miss. One for the segment and one for the triangle.
Yep, there are two formulas, but we are putting them together because if you take a look at the subtraction sign that I have here, we're subtracting them to find the final answer. If you want, you can do them separate, so you can only solve for this and then solve for this. And once you get your two answers, you subtract, but it is the same thing as having the entire formula together like this. Yes? Does that clarify?
Okay, miss. Thanks.
Eimer, what is your question?
Miss, for the second one, is it r square sine of theta over 2?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's what it says there. So we have to remember when we did trigonometry and we were working with sine, cosine, tangent. I hope you have not forgotten where those buttons are on your calculator, because now see it comes back again and you have to use it, right? So let's work out this problem, and then we're only gonna do this, and tomorrow we're gonna continue and we're gonna finish with some of the word problems that are in the worksheet. All right. So let me show you guys how this is done. We first have to substitute, right? So I can see that theta in this question is 120. And what is the radius? What is the radius for this question? 4. Very good. So I'm going to substitute that information here. Area is equal to 120 times 3.142 times 4 squared. over 360 degrees minus minus the radius is 4 squared times sine of 120 divided by 2, right? And then I need to go ahead and simplify. So everybody understood the substitution that I did there? Did you guys
Yes,
understand?
yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Okay. So in your calculators, we're gonna be doing the first part first, simplifying that, and then we're gonna simplify the second part. All right. So in this one, step by step, right? So
Miss,
yes, Jerome.
for the area of a sector is 16.8.
16.8. That's what you got.
Yes, miss.
Okay. So let me explain to the rest of the class, and then we're gonna cross check with the answer. You are going to be doing 120 times 3.142 times 4, right? 4 squared, equal sign, divided by 360, equal sign, right? So you should get a decimal. So what I'm going to be writing is the 16.8, which Jerome got, because we're rounding it off. You get 16.7573333. You round it off, you get 16.8. Everybody has that? Everybody got that on your calculators?
Yes, miss.
Miss, and for the second one is 6.9.
How much?
6.9.
6.9? Okay, I'm gonna take a look at it right now. For the second part, you guys are gonna do 4 times 4 times sine of 120, and then equal sign. 4 times 4 times sine of 120, equal sign, right? And then you're gonna divide by 2. And what do you get?
6.92, miss.
6.92.
Yes, miss.
4 times 4 times sine of 120. For some reason, I do not get that on my calculator. I get 4.6.
Miss, I get 4.6 as well.
Are your calculators set on degrees, guys? Make sure that it's on
Yes, miss.
degrees.
Follow 4.6, miss.
At the top of your calculator, make sure that it has the D or the DEG, because if it does not have degrees, then it's going to read the sign in radians or in some other thing. Make sure that it is in degrees.
Yes, electronics. Miss, it gave me 6.92 as well. But I rounded up and it takes at
Miss,
9.
miss, my calculator's on degrees and it still gives me 6.92.
4 times 4 times sine of 90. Let me,
Miss, me sale 6.9 algo, miss.
okay. Whoo. It's 4 times 4 times sine of 120. And then I'm going to divide that by 2. And you should get 6.92. So let me 4 times 4 times sine of 120 equals divided by 2, and it gives you 6.92. Okay, 6.9. Okay, guys. And then if you subtract what you get,
7.9.
7.9 meters squared. Right? Okay, that will be it for today, guys. I'm looking at the time, and you guys are free to leave. Please have the other word problems written in your notebook for tomorrow's class because tomorrow we're gonna finish them off. Okay? Enjoy the rest of the day. Enjoy
So
your
there's
What
lunch.
I
number
also
was
have
this one?
activity ones.
Repeat again.
There's
The
what
work of
I did not understand, guys. Sorry.
the work of activity 1 is
Okay, the work for activity one. You guys have a class right now?
no miss.
no miss.
I have
Yes,
computer
miss.
skill.
Yes, I have yes, miss. Nosotros sí tenemos.
Okay. So tomorrow, the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna explain activity one. Okay. You guys can leave. Don't worry, but I'll explain it tomorrow. First thing.
Miss, I will explain miss.
I don't play mis, yo no tengo clases ahorita mis hasta 1.
Okay. If you have to leave because you have a class, you can leave. Right. But I'm still gonna explain again tomorrow. Okay. So for those of you that can stay, I will explain it. What is activity one? If you would like to work on it. So there you go. This is activity one. Activity one is asking you guys to write a letter. So this is easy. You guys are gonna be writing a letter that is at least 10 sentences, and it has to be handwritten. I don't want anybody to type their letter. So 10 sentences, right? Doesn't have to be 10 complex or compound sentences. 10 simple sentences works. In this letter, you guys are going to be writing a letter to God, talking about what you have learned as the biblical integration for this unit of geometry. So, for the past 6 weeks, what have you learned about geometry in the biblical integration aspect? Creation, fall, redemption, restoration, talking about biblical through lines, talking about your habits of learning, anything that we have done that you have learned that relates to it. And we talked about different things like in the Bible it says, it talks about pi, what we learned this week. In the Bible it says that the earth is in a circular shape. Um, and it mentions a lot of geometry. We also talked about taking our responsibility as being creation caretakers. When we did the mathematical tools and you had to do your little poster about it, and you had to write your slogan talking about that we use geometrical tools for construction, but God uses us for creation care. And you guys will write a letter explaining that. What have I learned in geometry that relates to the biblical integration? And then you guys will share how you have been irresponsible in complying with your duty as a creation caretaker. Sorry. So after you have shared what you have learned, you are going to be admitting and saying, okay, well, sometimes I don't put my garbage in the correct place. Sometimes I don't water my plants. I don't help to clean my yard. Anything, at least one thing that you have realized that you have not been doing to take care of creation. And based on that one thing, you are going to say, okay, well, I am compromising myself that I will start putting my garbage in the correct place. I will start watering my plants, or I start helping out my parents in cleaning my yard or something to that effect. Right? How do you start the letter? Your letter is going to be starting with Dear God. For the past 6 weeks, I have been learning about geometry, biblical integration in geometry. And you start your, that is how you can start a letter. But your letter is going to be starting off with dear God, because you're writing your letter to God, right? You don't say dear Miss Mai or Miss Mai or whoever. You say dear God because your letter is directed to that. In the instructions, it says that. And you write your 10 sentences. You can write more if you want, but don't write a whole essay. And then once you're finished writing these things in there, you are going to say yours sincerely and then your name at the bottom. And that is what you have to do for this first assignment. Any questions?
Miss, for the letter, you want to put the dates and like in the first section, the causal, something like that. Where leaving that?
No, no, no. I would like that you guys have the date, maybe just the date, because if I wouldn't ask that you guys put your address and then you don't know God's address. So just put the date and you say dear God, and then you have your paragraph, one or two paragraphs depending on how many sentences you have, and then your signature at the bottom.
Miss, but adding like the name and the date and the address, like it would just like make the letter look more formal. Cause if we don't add that, it will look a bit incomplete, Miss.
You can go ahead and add it, but I want this letter to be more like a journal entry then, right? Because when you're writing a journal entry or when you're writing a diary letter, it basically only has a date. But if you want to make your letter formal and make it look a little bit more professional, you can go ahead and put your information, because it's gonna be basically just your information that you're gonna put. Your name, your address, um, the date, and then the dear God, because you can't put an address for God, right? So then that section wouldn't be there. If you want to go ahead and do that in your letter, that is fine. If you would like your letter to be more informal and look more like an entry letter, you can just have the date and then the greeting, right? Have the assignment open for you guys. So I'm not giving you guys like you have to have this, but um, the way you format your letter is dependent if you want it to be formal or informal. Does that clarify?
Yes,
Yes,
Miss.
Miss.
Yes, miss.
Okay. So if you guys don't have any questions, you guys are free to leave. Enjoy your day, guys.
Miss,
Bye,
Bye, miss.
Miss.
Bye.
Miss, I want you will
Bye,
post
miss.
the
Repeat again, Marvin.
Miss. Miss, when you will post the extra points that you will set that in class.
I will work on that today and tomorrow because I have to put the questions together. But I will post it on Friday, and it will be due until Wednesday of next week.
Multiple choice.
I have to. I still am thinking about it. Maybe I'll have some multiple choice, fill in the blanks, things like that. I won't really include something that I can check really fast, right? I'm not gonna put word problems.
Okay, Miss. Thank you.
Okay. Cesar, yes, you can go ahead and redo some work.